So, anyone who knows me knows that I love kids. But the other day I was in a mall and there was this girl and she was wailing at the top of her lungs in a shop called Claire's. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Claire's. Here in Vancouver we have it. It's an accessory and jewelry type shop, mostly geared towards young girls, but then I'm in there too sometimes. I was looking for some things for a party that was Hawaiian themed. So I'm looking for my things and I cannot even focus on anything because this girl, she must have been like maybe 5, something like that, and she was wailing and just could not stop. And she was with her mom and another young girl. To be honest, I didn't even see the other young girl because she was absolutely quiet and enjoying her little shopping spree. The thing is that the girl who was crying, I overheard her mom say, "I know you want it, but you can choose 2 things." So the girl that was crying had a whole bunch of things in her hands, like a backpack, a purse, some jewelry, some pens, like a whole bunch of things in her hands. And a lot of them were big things. And her mom, like, it didn't seem like it was a special occasion. Her mom was just being really nice and saying to both girls, like, you can grab a couple of things and we'll get going. And so they couldn't go because the one girl that was screaming didn't want to just choose 2 things. The thing is that her mom was saying, okay, well, if you're not going to choose 2 things and put 2 things on the counter, then you're going to leave with nothing. And the girl kept screaming. Okay, I have to say that I'll give it to the girl that she kind of seemed to know what she wanted in one way and was being very perseverant and like stubborn that she was going to get all the stuff that she wanted. But on the other hand, her mom was being really generous. And her mom was being kind. She wasn't yelling at her, even though the girl was like screaming and making a scene. Even to the point where the young girl grabbed all the things that she wanted and like started screaming and walking out of the store with them. And so her mom was very embarrassed, but she kept her cool and she just reminded the girl, like, if you choose 2 things, we're good. Like, you know, choose 2 things like your sister did. Put them on the counter and I'll buy them for you. And that's when I noticed the sister, because of the comparison. And, you know, I also don't like to compare kids, but it was crazy. And what ended up happening for me was this realization that the idea of choice, I think we take it for granted. What I mean is that we actually can choose what we want, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in how we spend our time, who we spend our time with, where we choose to focus our attention. And when this girl was not choosing something, it also made me think of this other idea of, it's like sometimes we're so scared to make a choice that we think that it's going to be the wrong choice. And this girl was not only not making a choice, but in fact, actually, by not choosing 2 things, that in itself was a choice. Because that meant she was going to be walking out of that place with nothing. I think a lot of the times we think that we're going to make a mistake and we have to hoard things, we have to like make sure we don't make this mistake. But what if the actual trick or key or magic of all of it is that there is no mistake. Like, what if whatever we choose, even if it's not something as simple as, some things that a child wanted, but like a choice of where we're going to go to school, where we're going to study, which dance teacher we're going to go to, which dance class we're going to take, what hobbies we're going to choose. What if it's actually in the making of the choice, just the act of making the choice, that is the important thing? Because staying still and not acting and not choosing and being so scared of making a choice, or being so scared that you're going to make the wrong choice, that you want to take everything and hoard it, and you don't realize that you're actually kind of stifling your possibilities. Like you're stifling your opportunities, actually, is what I wanted to say. Because like this little girl, she had the opportunity to get a couple of really fun things that day, and instead she just didn't clue in for her that she could get a couple of things if she made a choice. But if she kept screaming and crying that she couldn't take it all, she was going to leave with nothing. I think it's such an amazing analogy for us. Sometimes we put so much anxiety and worry and stress over making a choice that actually, that just in the process of making the choice, we would have gotten enjoyment and fulfillment, and that's part of life, is making the choice. But we make ourselves lose out on that because we don't even want to make the wrong choice. We're scared that it's going to be the wrong choice. But again, what if we were to consider that there are no wrong choices? Even the ones that seem like they might be wrong, we learn something from them, and it allows us to have a new desire that lines up with like what we learned from that. I just think this girl taught me so much, and it was just a few minutes, but she was screaming, and her mom taught me so much, and I didn't even say anything to them, but they, in their actions and their behavior and the way that they communicated with each other, especially I think the mom, really taught me, like, it just made me really reflect on choices. We have choices, and we should take the opportunity to make good ones, and also not fear, or like just to make a choice, not fear making a choice, because they say the universe always has our backs, and I really do believe that. And I think when we make a choice and there are no wrong choices, if we think like that, we can actually like have fun making a choice. It's like our own shopping spree of life. It's like, instead of going into Claire's, we're just going into life and making choices, making decisions, and we're supposed to enjoy it. I'm going to bring up Abraham Hicks again. I keep bringing them up, but they keep saying like the purpose of life is to enjoy it, and we as human beings forget that. We forget that actually everything that we want, everything that we think that we need and desire, is actually because we feel like, we think that it's going to give us, it's going to make us feel better, it's going to make us feel good, because that is why we came here, is to enjoy life and to feel good. So make choices. Don't be scared of making choices. Just make a choice. Maybe there are really no wrong choices, and the only one that quote unquote could be wrong, which I still don't even think is wrong, is just not making a choice, because in fact you're kind of choosing to stay still instead of to take an opportunity. Thanks all for listening. Thanks to the little girl and her mom and her sister who taught me so much in a little trip to Claire's. I hope you guys are all having a great week, and I'll talk to you all in a few days.